So this would be the standard hook set method by attaching the snap on your rod, then taking your line and running it through the trigger arm silicone. As so, and then this would be your counterweight. In this mode you would set your program jigging by hitting program, selecting a method, then hitting program again, and then it'll begin jigging. In this mode, when a fish takes the lure, it's going to begin to pull this trigger arm down, and it'll set the hook with remote notification of which unit went off. This would be our tip up, tip down mode, where we're not actually attaching the clip of the rod to the servo arm. We would just run the rod in this position. We utilize this front metal peg in this position, in this method, where you just wrap the line a couple times around, set your bait, and in this mode, when a fish would take it, you can have your bail set open or closed. So when a fish would take it, it pulls down and that line falls off that front peg, and as they take it out, it's in free spool mode. You still get the notification that it went off in the LED lighting, but in this case you could grab your rod and then set the hook yourself. You could also run out an amount of line in between like this, and then you would have it like in a snare mode where once it pulls out the slack, it would end up snaring itself. If you wanted to run the jigging without the hook set, you take your line and your snap, you wrap it a couple times around the snap, then you attach it to the servo arm. You would then run it through as normally through the trigger arm. In this case, you open your bail. So now it's going to start jigging, but when a fish takes it, it's still in free spool. You would then get the notification and come out and set the hook yourself. To select your trigger method on the Gill-O-Tine, you hit the trigger key. You'll see 5 options that you can choose from. The default setting when you turn on the unit is the back sensor, or number 1. The back sensor, when a fish pulls the front down, it's going to come off the back, and at a certain distance it's going to trigger the unit. The second trigger option is the front sensor, located here. You would enter that to trigger. It will now use the front sensor. When a fish pulls it down, the unit will not trigger until it comes down towards the bottom, and then it will trigger a hook set. The third and fourth option for the trigger settings is a delay of 3 seconds or a delay of 5 seconds. To enter one, you would enter 3 trigger or 4 trigger, depending on the delay you want. What this does is adjust the delay setting of the rear sensor. So when a fish takes it down, it will not trigger until after 3 seconds. The other option, when it's set in this mode, if the fish would take it down all the way, the front sensor will still trigger the device. The fifth trigger option, the double trigger, is a unique setting for live bait use. Entering 5, trigger will select the double trigger. In this, you would set up as a normal hook set position, attaching the rod to the servo arm, running your line through the trigger tip, but you would also wrap your line around the front metal peg, and then pull out an amount of line you'd want the fish to run before setting the hook. So as the fish takes it down, it's going to dump that line, and it's going to give you a remote notification, and the light will come on, but a hook will not trigger. Once the fish takes out the slack in the line and goes down again, it'll set the hook. To set the pump up on the Gill-O-Tine, you attach the cord into the back port. When attaching, you want to make sure that there is no water or ice buildup before attaching. You then run the line. You slide the pump bracket through the bracket holder on the front straight down. The pump has 2 magnets on the one side. You just simply line it up, attach it to the metal bracket holder, and you want the top of the pump, this port, just below the surface, and it'll naturally angle that direction, so it will circulate the water around the outside of the hole. To turn the pump on, you simply just press the pump button. This will start the slowest setting. Every 30 seconds it'll cycle the water. Or you can enter 1 pump, and it'll tell you that the pump is running at the slow level. If you want to increase the timing of the pump, you could go to 2 and pump. It will now tell you that the pump is on medium. This would cycle every 15 seconds. The third option is 3 pump, or the fastest setting. Every 5 seconds the pump will begin to run. There's also a fourth option where it just turns the pump on full time. 4 pump. The pump will just begin to run continually. If you want to shut the pump off at any time, just enter the pump key and it will say pump off.